What is up, YouTube? Tyler Seacrest here. This week's episode is going to be about 10 things you absolutely need to know about buying a home.
Welcome to the Weekly Tea. Look, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm cool with that. All right, guys, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. If you guys are watching this, we're going to talk about 10 things that I think you definitely need to know about purchasing a home. This is like off the top. We super busy this week. Today we were at Ruoff. Got some meetings lined up back to back today. I told Sam, I said, hey man, just pull up. We're gonna knock this out, and we chose a topic, and I'm just gonna run with it. So I'm coming up with 10 things that I think everybody definitely needs to know about buying a home. In no particular order of importance. These are just 10 things. These could be, really random. Just 10 really important things I think everybody should know. Number one, use a trusted realtor. I think you should have a high-profile agent handling all of your deals. You can go back to some of my later videos. We'll put in the description those links to those other videos why you need to get a high-profile agent on your team, as well as a high-profile loan officer on your team. That is rule numero uno, asterisk, bold, underline. I can't talk about that enough. Getting with a professional who can just help you do what you need to do. Number two, remember that a house purchase involves a contract. When you guys are buying a piece of property, you're gonna be signing a lot of documents. At the end of the day, remember, it is, it's a contract, it's legally binding. And with that, don't feel like the contract itself is Contracts are meant to be negotiated. So go back to rule number one, if you're working with a high profile agent, they're going to be savvy enough to show you how you can write in additional contingencies or maybe additional items that can serve you or protect you. But at the end of the day, remember, it is a legally binding contract. And remember, that is involved when you're purchasing and as well as selling. Number three, don't necessarily buy a home for the life you have today. Here's what I mean by that. When you buy a primary residence, or even if it's a second home, vacation home, investment property, think long-term about what your goals are, figure out what your why is. Lately in this market, thankfully, some people who maybe should not have bought, who maybe were just renters by nature, who did end up buying because of how low inventory levels have been and how much things have appreciated with them selling within 6 to 12, 24 months. Yes, they'll be subject to capital gains. They were able to kind of cover themselves. They weren't upside down on anything. I would encourage you just to think long-term. If you're gonna buy a piece of property for your primary residence, think long-term. Think, what your needs are for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Make sure, everything just aligns with your ambitions and your goals. Number four, think about commitment. Now this is totally different from my last point because this is gonna catch you off guard a little bit. What I mean by this, thinking about commitment, several of you are in serious relationships, maybe even committed relationships. Let's say you're not married. Acquiring property together on the deed, it can create some problems. Say if the relationship didn't work out after the fact, or God forbid somebody pass away, or things of that nature. So I would encourage you to get with, let's go back to rule number one. Number one, use a trusted realtor. I think you should have a high profile agent handling all of your deals. Get back with a high profile agent who can educate you on different ways you can take title so that in the event anything like that does happen, you're educated, you know how you can maneuver, and ultimately you guys are taking title the way that you should. Number five, look beyond paint. You'll hear a lot of agents, look past, the cosmetic stuff. Whenever you're looking for a home, if you're balling on a budget or if you're looking for a fixer-upper, don't look past anything. You need to be mindful of everything before you make a decision. Now, granted, I understand in this climate, it is kind of high pace. Some things may get missed here or there, but I think it's super important to know what you're getting yourself into before you commit to something. Again, go back to rule number one, somebody who is very well experienced is going to be able to guide you and kind of make you aware and mindful of those things. Number 6, buy the house that you know you can afford. This is personal. This is my personal opinion. I'm not legally allowed to give legal or financial advice. I just recommend, doing what's right for you. At the end of the day, the only person who knows what's right for you is you. I would encourage you to make sure your team, when I say your team, your loan officer, your real estate agent, even your title officer, make sure everybody has your best interest in heart. Make sure they're keeping you in the driver's seat at all times. That way, when you get broached with the idea of, maybe having to increase your budget or maybe having to take on, maybe some little projects that you didn't really want to do, just buy the house that you know you can afford. Just be conservative. That way, when you get into the home, there's no surprises. Just try to be financially disciplined. Like I said, you do have to, housing is an interesting caveat. It's one of few things that you can also be emotional about, where it doesn't always have to revolve around money. I like to look at real estate from a financial aspect, like an investment aspect. I like to make sure every decision I make is making me closer to my end goal. Don't feel like you have to do that or that's the only way. I always tell people, and I try to assure them, this is about you and it's about what you want. If you really love this particular property or if you really want to be in a certain location, sometimes you do have to overpay for something, or sometimes you have to sacrifice, to get, whatever it is you want. And if you're going to be there long term, chances are it's not going to matter. And the way that you should just look at that is maybe an opportunity cost to get, the thing that you do want. So be financially disciplined. Make sure you're not getting yourself into something that you can't get out of. And yeah. Number 7, don't fixate on just the purchase price. Don't just run numbers on what your offering price is or what the accepted purchase price is. Being a homeowner, there's a lot more to it than just paying your mortgage each month. You're going to have maintenance. Now, I don't care whether you get into a maintenance-free property, like a condo, a villa, a townhome. There's going to be some maintenance involved with the home. Make sure you're taking all of those maintenance costs into consideration when you're setting up your budget or you're trying to figure out, how much house you can afford. But all of that should be done. I'm going to go back to rule number 1. You should be working with an agent and an LO who's going to bring that stuff to your attention. That way, when you're running those numbers, you can be mindful of that. Number 8, get your ducks in a row. When you're getting ready to buy a piece of real estate, you're going to want to make sure your financing is in order. Whether you're going to pay cash for something, whether you're going to take out a mortgage for something, or take out a loan to buy something. Get your ducks in a row. And within that is a laundry list of items. You got to check your credit. Check your income. You got to check employment. There's so much that you have to check and make sure is in place and in order to allow you to do what you're trying to do. Never hurts to start early. I was literally just in my truck talking to a guy. We're getting ready to get him a place in Charleston, South Carolina, talking about getting his ducks in a row. He's about 6 to 18 months out. And I was just telling him, you're calling me at the perfect time. I don't care if you're a seasoned buyer or seller, or if you're a person who wants to build a home. 6 to 18 months before doing the damn thing, I encourage you to reach out to your team. Come in, chat with your team, whether it be an in-person meeting, whether it be a Zoom call, a FaceTime, or you're just, on a 3-way call for, an hour or so. Figure out what all your options are, talk out loud and verbalize what your end goal is. Learn what all your options are. And then at the end of the day, the only person who knows what's right for you is you. And if your team is putting you in the driver's seat, you're going to be able to look at all your options, and it's all going to allow you to reverse engineer whatever the situation is to get you what you want to get ultimately. So get your ducks in a row. Number 9, I'm going to take some shots and I don't care. Stop using internet loan officers. There's value in using a local loan officer and it doesn't even have to be a local lending institution. There are incredible people who work for national firms who, say may work in your local market, but may be employed by, a national entity. But the value in this climate is real estate doesn't slow down for anybody. Properties get listed Monday to Monday, 24/7, 365. Some of the stuff is moving very, very quickly. I've listed properties, 5, 6, 7 p.m. on a Friday, and it's done, first thing Saturday morning. You ever tried to get your banker at, and I'm gonna name drop them, Chase Bank or maybe a Flagstaff, Wells Fargo, try to get them on the phone 5 o'clock on a Saturday? It's not going to happen. And for me, when you're out in the field and you're looking at all these properties, you're going to want to know what your numbers are, before you put an offer on the table. In my opinion, you should at least. And each property, obviously, it's going to be different, each property that you look at, because the taxes will be different, the prices will be different. That's all going to have an effect, on what your cash to close is, what potential payment could be. And you're going to want to know what that is, so that when you're putting that offer on the table, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The value in using a local LO is, at least my preferred partners here locally, they're all available to me 24/7, 365, within reason. I have partners just as well as any top agent in your market is going to have preferred partners. I can't talk enough about how important it is to try to use a team who has partnerships in place, because that could happen to you that one Saturday afternoon, the house of your dreams could get listed, and you may need somebody to work on a Saturday and do some things for you. And if you're working with the right people, they're going to happily do it for you, and they're going to put you in the driver's seat, and they're going to help you get what you want. So stop using those internet companies, because those approvals are shit. And I'm tired of hearing "I told you so" at the closing table. Lastly, number 10, you don't have to buy a house. And here's what I mean by that. Buying a home is not for everyone. If you can get into a rental situation where you're saving money each month, there's value in flexibility, right? If you're signing 3, 6, 9, 12 month leases, and maybe you're at the beginning of your career and you just don't know where you're going to land, or say you're not sold on the area that you're in, say you're single or you just started dating somebody, buying real estate is a commitment. And I highly, highly encourage people to not get caught up in, what society deems, is the status quo. You don't have to have a house before you're 35, get married before you're whatever. Throw all that crap out of the window. What I always tell my clients who are toying with the idea of buying or renting, in this climate, if you know you're going to be where you're at, for 24, 36 months, and you're in a position to buy something, to me, it's silly to not park that money into a real asset that is proven to appreciate over time. Because when you go from paying a landlord into becoming an owner, each time you make that monthly payment, at first you are paying a lot in interest, but you got to picture that as like a little piggy bank, right? And you're going to get to take advantage of that natural appreciation that could occur, which lately has yielded. It's become a huge wealth building tool for a lot of my clients. And I know the majority of my clients are, ecstatic that they bought when they did. Of those that were, toying with the idea of renting or buying, because, they're making $30, $40, $50, $60,000 in 24 months just by moving some money into an account and owning something. Whereas the people who are out here still living their best life but have nothing to show for it. So that's going to conclude today's video, guys. If you could do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe if you're already not. Go check out my socials. Go to Secrets Marketing Group's website here. Check out the updates on the spec. I think we're about 2 months out from that. If you're looking to buy, sell, build, or create, in Indiana or South Carolina, you know who to call. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week.